like we can roll into our topic here because this is a great segue, but I just like Donovan, I don't know what to say about this game. I really don't know. I'm just blown away that a game like this, I don't know how it made out the door. I'll just tell you that. I don't know how people were like, yeah, this is going to be sick. Guys,
well, and again, like it's not
worthy of Final Fantasy.
And you know, early buzz was all of that. So, you know, when they first released like the first trailers and that first little bit of gameplay and the chaos.
Well, yeah, people were like, this is stupid.
Like people were laughing from it from the get-go, and now they've released it and it doesn't look like I think it was already too far along when they showed it. You know, for them to change too much.
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe, I mean, I don't believe this, what I'm about to say, but I will do this just to extend the olive branch silver lining here. Maybe we get the full game. I get the full game, which I'm not going to buy right now because what I played in the demo just really turned me off.
Well, it doesn't feel like something you want to pay full price for.
No, it's not. And it's not worthy of my time right now, to be honest. I got better things to do than play this fucking game. Like maybe they patch it and it's like they speed it up and they iron out some of the menu systems and stuff. Again, another reason why I don't play games at launch, because I assume they will fix some of the stuff. And if they don't fix it, then they just have no clue how to make a good game anymore. Like, yeah. I don't know. I don't know what to say. Game's a mess, though.
Well, yeah. And so Square Enix is kind of releasing a few messy things right now.
So is that going to be our topic?
I guess we're rolling right into this. You said a segue was happening here.
I'll just preface it in a nice box. What is going on with Square Enix?
What is going on with Square Enix?
Because
so we've got Babylon's Fall, we've got Stranger of Paradise. Forspoken is about to launch soon, right?
Just got delayed, which I think is a good thing.
By the looks of it, yeah.
Now, I mean, it doesn't look. I think the game looks good. I think they have a lot going for it, but I think the game was rough. And again, it just underlines some of the shit that we're talking about. I don't know why they showed that game in the state it was in, because it wasn't ready to be shown.
Mm-hmm.
And I just can't fathom. Listen, I don't make games for a living. I would like to in some capacity in the future, and I think I will, but I don't run one of the biggest gaming companies in the world with almost 40, well, they do like 40 years of history just about.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? It's time to start treating, like, they need to start acting like they've been making games for 4 decades. Because what they're doing with some of this stuff, it's like they have a massive hit, like Final Fantasy VII, remake, the first part, and then they have Final Fantasy 14, which is making an insane amount of money and keeping them afloat, and all their expansions are great. Like Endwalker was rated like it's a 91 on Metacritic or 92.
Wow,
something like it's super high, like top tier shit. So which it's just puzzling. Like, how do you, like, I'll give them praise. They take chances, okay, and I like that. I like that.
Well, and I think something like Forspoken is definitely like you got a brand new IP. It looks. It's definitely got its own thing going for it. But yeah, I mean, you say it shouldn't have been shown in the state it was in. And it's like, I sometimes think about like when we were kids and, you'd used to see, we'd be reading our EGMs, Electronic Gaming Monthly for those in the know. And like to have like the splash pages of the things coming soon or whatever, and all you'd get were little screenshots. I mean, that's all you could get back then, right? And we didn't have video footage of anything, and that had to be enough. But see, now there's so much more pressure to have these. We gotta
video
show off this new product or
demos. Yes,
and so it's not. I'll give them that much in the fact that there's more scrutiny now because everybody's like, again, these are all reasons why they should have waited longer to show some of this stuff, but I mean, it's a two-sided, it's a double-edged sword, I guess you could say, right?
Yeah, it can be a gift and a curse. Like, yes, it's more demanding in terms of showing. But I will say for the bigger games, it's easier to get word out there. Like if you, and there's no reason, if you're making a game with the budget and the talent that these, like a company like Square has, like an indie game, they got one chance to really make that impression. If they blow that chance, they're done. They'll sell nothing. But whereas like big companies have multiple chances, but it's like, even then, like you should know what the confidence. Like there's no way they showed Forspoken that first time, and it wasn't even a gameplay demo. It wasn't a hands-on demo. It was a like hands-off pre-done showing.
Yeah. And I'm fine with that.
I am too, but it ran rough.
Yeah.
And it was choppy, and it's like, this can't be what you show as a first impression. It just can't. Like, who is running the show there? Who is making these decisions? Because this just screams amateur to me.
Well, and it makes me wonder too, like, you know, with the are we getting the same level of quality in the programming, comparatively speaking, to what we used to get from generations past?
Well, like what generation we talking? Because they've been a mess since the PS3 360 era.
I pick a generation, honestly. I mean, I would say go back, you know, as far as you want. I mean, there's always going to be little things that get missed or whatever, right? You know, I mean, when we look back at
but I mean, we're not talking about little things.
No, exactly, and that's not what I'm not saying either. But I mean, you know, we've mentioned in previous episodes about how, you know, like back in the day, you know, you got your cartridge or your disc or whatever, and that was that. There were no patches, right? There was no fixing things that were wrong with the game or whatever. You had to make sure your game was as close to as perfect as you can when you release it. And, you know, now we get games that are, you know, this is exactly why you say you don't play games right away when at launch, you know, and why you're waiting on Elden Ring and things like that. I wonder sometimes if just the development cycle itself has just changed, and maybe the work ethics aren't the same. Who knows? There's all kinds of different things to come into play. But like, yeah, it makes me wonder. I mean, things in the everyday world.
It's no doubt that Square Enix specifically, but most Japanese companies had a hard time switching to the HD generation that came with the PS3 and 360. They had a hard time. Capcom was having a hard time. Konami was having a hard time. Square, the topic at hand, I mean, Final Fantasy 13's development was hell. But the truth is, it started before that. Final Fantasy 12's development was hell. Like, they lost their director part of the way through.
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, you talk about Final Fantasy games going through development hell. It feels like the last, 5 of them have gone through development hell.
They have. And it's like, I don't understand why. And this is, I really, if we're going to, what is wrong with Square? Their leadership. That's what's wrong. And I say that with full confidence. I don't know who exactly is pulling the strings final wise, but whoever it is, they're not doing a good job. Nomura has way too much say in the things that they're doing, and he's stretched way too thin for even his meager talents in terms of what he handles. Like his hand and everything that he's done lately has been no good. Like Kingdom Hearts 3, extremely underwhelming. He's hands-on with the Strangers of Paradise. This game is a fucking mess. Like it's a game that shouldn't exist.
I didn't know he was actually involved with it. Yeah, I didn't know that. Or at least, I thought this was I thought this was something they farmed out to Team Ninja.
Well, they helped with the gameplay system, and I think they incorporated their system. But I think Nomura wrote it and did the character design, because that's how he started. He started as an artist and character designer, and that was his forte. Like, I'm not going to not give him credit for the things that he was good at. Like, you go all the way back to like Final Fantasy VI and the original Final Fantasy VII. He's an artist, concept artist, and character artist, and all this stuff, and that he's great at it.
Sure.
But it's like Final Fantasy VII Remake was given to CyberConnect at first. Then it was taken away from them really unceremoniously, and they're like, yeah, we're bringing it in-house. And then, like, Nomura's leading it. And then they talked to him. He's like, yeah, I didn't even know I was doing that. And it's like, what?
Actually,
like,
you know what? I found out that the Final Fantasy 13 team is the one that kind of worked on the 7 remake.
Okay, well, like, yeah, but I feel like because Nomura was still involved with it, but they had
Katase, absolutely. But
they had Katase in there as a producer, and I think the only reason that project wasn't a complete mess. I mean, say what you want about it being in split parts, but that game is quality. Whether you love the direction it ended up in or not, it does not seem it seems like a high budget game. That's all I'm saying. Okay, like it's a finished high budget game for what they wanted. Whereas some of their other projects just are not. And they've had a leadership problem, whether it's getting around the tech, whether it's scope. Final Fantasy 13 was a mess. Like, the amount of stuff that was left on the cutting room floor now, games have cut content all the time. But that game, I think, in terms of where they wanted it to go and what it ended up being, it's in trouble. So not only are they mismanaging their side projects, it seems like they'll have a hit, then they have 3 misses. But their main thing, their flagship, they're fucking around with it. And it's like, so much is riding on Final Fantasy 16 right now, Donovan.
Oh, God.
I think
no wonder they're not showing it.
But I'm the only reason if Nomura was involved and the regular people were involved, I would be like, oh my God, is this like the end as we know it of what we're doing? But no, since it's Naoki Yoshida, the Final Fantasy 14 savior, I have full confidence that 16 is going to be amazing when they do reveal it, and they said it's going to be spring, so it's now spring. So show me the Final Fantasy 16. But if they show that game and it's not in good shape, I don't know what we do with Square.
Yeah,
I just don't know. Like all I'll say is, if I ran Square, these games would not come out. Babylon's Fall wouldn't happen. Quiet Man wouldn't happen. Left alone or left aside, whatever that game was they made, that would never happen. And then it's like they make puzzling decisions, like they make a game like Octopath Traveler and the recent Triangle Strategy and Bravely Default, and then they just leave them on the Nintendo Switch.
Yeah,
why are they there? Like, I'm not saying they don't deserve those games. Bring them there, but bring those games to everywhere. That's like, Square fans want those games.
That's like the War of the Lions, the PSP version of Tactics. Like, why weren't PSP games available to download onto the PS3? That just baffles me.
That, and then just go, like, why are the pixel remasters of Final Fantasy 1 through 6 on mobile and PC and not console? Why? It's a console franchise.
Yeah.
Period. Like, what is that decision, Donovan?
They're waiting to package it into a $100 bundle for consoles.
Okay, fine. Like, I'll buy it. Like, and you know how many? There's multi-million other people that would buy it too. $100 for 6 games remastered with nice fancy packaging.
Yeah.
Have all my money right now. But it's like, where's the 13 remaster trilogy?
Yeah.
These are all money makers. Where's the Chrono Trigger re-release with trophies on consoles and achievements on Xbox? Where's that coming along with Chrono Cross? We talked about this. They just announced the new at the State of Play, a new Valkyrie profile. Okay, Valkyrie profile, a third one. It's a series we never thought we'd see again, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of the best games ever is the first Valkyrie profile, which they remade for the PSP. Valkyrie Profile Lenneth. It's available nowhere else. And Valkyrie Profile 2, Silmeria, which is extremely difficult to find, only stranded on the PS2. Okay, nowhere else. Where are those games? You're going to reintroduce this franchise that is super, super niche. Okay, that most people look at this and they're like, what even is this? Because the gameplay, it's now an action game, not even an RPG.
Right.
It's like, what kind of decision is that? Like, why would you not say, remember this Valkyrie Profile series that you kind of might remember and it was loved? Here's those 2 games, okay? Now, look what else we got. We got a third game, and now it's action. So you have something to work on,
No,
right?
and I mean, maybe when they get closer to releasing the game, they're gonna surprise us and say it's gonna come bundled with. But I doubt it, right?
They're not gonna do that, man. They're not, because that would make too much sense.
I mean, some companies seem to be getting onto this a little bit more. I mean, we're watching Konami.
Well, Konami's gearing back up, but Capcom has fixed all their shit.
Yeah.
Capcom was in the same trouble to different degrees, but they were in trouble too at the same time.
Yeah.
But they've righted the ship, and they are selling more games than they've ever sold in the history of their company. From Monster Hunter, and that's even with Street Fighter somewhat struggling commercially. They've turned Resident Evil around.
Yeah.
Monster Hunter is massive.
Well, I mean,
you can keep going.
Love it or hate it, Street Fighter V is at least in better shape.
For sure,
it's
and
in much better shape than it was when it launched. But I mean,
yeah,
I haven't played it in ages. So
yeah, and they're their own person, but I just don't know what Square's doing. I don't know. They have this treasure trove of franchises and IPs, and it's like they ignore them, or when they do bring them back, they're half-assed.
Yeah.
Or put it on random spots that make no sense, or when they do decide to bring them back, they're half-assed or stranded, or the budget is shit. Like what, Strangers of Paradise. What is that? It's not. If you're gonna remake the origin of your flagship franchise, you got to give it a budget that's gonna sustain it. No,
right? Or at least
did not.
I mean, and again, if you're gonna make the origin to your flagship series, why did you farm it out? Why is it the way it is? There's so many weird questions.
And why is it in the direction? Why didn't they just make a nice,
questions.
Cool fantasy game? You know what I mean? Why is Limp Bizkit playing? Why is Frank Sinatra's My Way playing? Why is Jack Garland a fucking moron? Why are they wearing?
Why does Jack Garland exist?
Yeah, why does he exist? Why are they wearing sneakers? You know what I mean?
Are they wearing sneakers?
Yes. Why does one guy have a plaid shirt tied around his hips? Donovan, I don't know.
I don't know. The more you talk about it, the less I want to check it out.
But that's just one game out of many. I was listening to the track record since 2017, and it's man, there's some bombas there. It's, to me right now,
I mean, they came off Nier Automata.
It's for every Nier Automata, which also was hand in hand with Platinum, and they finally sort of locked up Yoko Taro, who was a free agent for a while. But and then you pigeonhole games in around that. It's I don't have I meant to write the list down because I was going to go through it because it really would have underlined my point, but of course I was lazy and didn't put it down. But I don't know, man. If Final Fantasy 16 doesn't hit, and if they don't announce Final Fantasy 7 Remake Part 2, there's it again. Okay, the state of, I know I'm ranting here, man, I know. But there's just so much.
The guy is sick and he can't stop himself, ladies and gentlemen.
But I mean, the handling of Final Fantasy Remake typifies exactly what we're talking about.
Well, the fact that it's going to take 10 years for the whole thing to be done.
Yeah.
I've been saying that from the get-go, man.
And I honestly, it made me so mad to hear people say that. I'm there's no way they're going to do that. And you know what? They are going to fucking do it.
They are absolutely going to do it. It's going to take them 10 years to finish Final Fantasy VII Remake.
And honestly, Donovan, that is bullshit.
Yep.
It's bullshit.
I've been saying that since the very beginning. As soon as they announced that it was going to be multiple parts, I was like, count me out.
You can't do this. You can't announce a remake, a multi-part remake for one of the most beloved games of all time, arguably your most popular game ever in the company's history. Okay.
Yeah.
And then not have a timeline. You can't do that.
No, dude, these are all the reasons why I want to love it, but I stopped playing it. I haven't finished it.
Yeah. I mean, I loved the first part. I did.
Yeah. But I'm going to, but I guess I'm so pissed off about the way they're doing it that I'm having a hard time enjoying it.
I wish, all I'll say is this, and I'm going to end on this. You can end on whatever note you want.
Yeah.
I wish Square loved Final Fantasy as much as his fans did.
I can agree with that. Absolutely. Yeah. I think Square needs to, they need to pay. They seem to say that they pay attention to what their audience wants, but sometimes I really think that they don't know what their audience wants. I mean, Stranger Paradise is a perfect example of that. You
Final Fantasy 16's it, man, because it's the trailer is. They said because it was supposed to be shown last winter.
Yep.
Yoshi P went on record. He said the reason we did not is because we were caught a little bit behind because of COVID. Okay, I will give them that one pass. Okay, that one pass. He said spring. If they don't show it soon, because everyone thought it was coming at this most recent PlayStation State of Play.
Right.
Okay, everyone thought. Now it wasn't technically spring. Okay, so guys were like, okay, don't have your hopes up, but it's spring now.
Well,
they got to show this game.
3 days in, but yeah, it is
they have
spring.
to show this game, and it needs to look amazing. Like that initial trailer, to me, the tone, the combat, the pacing looked great, but visually, which was surprising because we talked about all this though, man. Like visually, it was off. It didn't look as good as it should be. Now he goes, trust me, it'll look better. So they need to show that game, and then it needs to be out this winter.
Well, I hope you get all your wishes, because I know that you're...
I hope you get your wish, Donovan.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't as wowed as you were by the trailer.
That was awesome.
So my hype meter for it isn't as high as yours is, but...
boy, you better get hyped.
But of course I want the next Final Fantasy game to be great. I mean...
And we didn't even talk about Final Fantasy 15. Like,
did I finish 15? Yeah. Did I love it? I didn't love it.
Did anyone? I swear we pity played it, and there were, again, Final Fantasy 15 typifies Square so much. There's these grains of awesomeness in there, surrounded by a field of shit and unfinished weirdness and unexplained. Like the story is just complete nonsense. I don't know. Anyway, we could go. Honestly, dude, I could keep going on this. It just drives me bananas how a company this big and
I think it's because we love them so much, you know.
Yeah, but video games love Square.
Yeah,
they love them. They want to love them, but they're not. They don't make it easy.
No, they don't. No, and I think because it's been like 40 years now or whatever. Yeah. Come on.
I don't think there's a more clueless company out there making big video games than Square Enix.
No, they seem to be quite good at floundering right now. So let's see if they wake up in the next little while.
Yeah, they need Jesus or something. I don't know. Maybe I do. I don't know.